All right. I'm Crypto Pio. This is NFTculture, and we are interviewing a digital artist with a very unique style, Chi. How's it going, Chi?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So, I wanted to just right off the bat dig into your kind of creative beginnings. You were just telling me off air a little bit about how you would describe your work. So, could you tell people what your style of digital art, could kind of be categorized as, and then a little bit about your creative beginnings as an artist?
Sure. I guess now the new terms for it is like digital collage, photo montage. When I did it, it was known as photo manipulation. So I guess you could say that's like an older term. Um, as starting in art, actually, I started in art since I was really young. My mom actually has a picture of me finger painting as a baby, and she still has that finger painting at home somewhere stored in the closet. So I've always been an artist. I've always, it's just something I've been passionate about all my life and something I've always worked on. So that's pretty much how it started, was being really young. And living in Vermont, we didn't have anything to do. So my mom gave me like a lot of creative projects, crafty stuff. Did a lot of drawing, did some painting, just anything to kind of keep us preoccupied.
Okay, so roots as early as finger painting as a baby. I'm sure your use of color as a baby was just brilliant, and then graduating to drawing and painting. Okay, and then when did the photographic manipulation come in? When did you start getting into digital art? Because it sounds like kind of the early days make sense. It was all traditional, like
Mhm.
traditional illustration and painting. When did the digital art come into play?
It was about high school. Um, my grandfather also had me on computers really young, so I've always been part of the technology world for such a long time because he's a computer engineer, so he had me on computers really young. And from there, in high school, we started doing some photo manipulation type things for projects in class, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So I kept doing it, and then I started getting into deviant art, and that's where a lot of artists were really kind of like the NFT culture, where everyone's really welcoming and willing to help people learn and teach us about how to better um, advance our skills and everything. So it just kind of grew from there.
Okay, so you had kind of like a background with technology because you had a family member that was a computer engineer, so you were, comfortable with computers, started doing digital art, got involved with deviant art. Can you tell the audience, for those that don't know, like what is deviant art and just a little bit about that?
Deviant art was kind of like the beginning, I would say, sort of like NFT, not really. I mean, it was more based in the fiat currency. You could sell your pieces on DeviantArt. Of course, you didn't make very much, but it's more of like a gallery that has resources, that has art, that has stocks, that has, I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff. It's still there. It's still living. It's changed. It's got a new they have a new ownership now, so it's changed quite a bit from what it used to be. But um, that's pretty much what it is. It's kind of like a gallery and all kinds of art resources and things like that.
Gotcha. And so I'm a little bit familiar with it. I didn't know that you could actually buy work from DeviantArt, like from an
Mhm.
artist. Were you buying the digital work or were you buying like a physical print of the work?
You buy the actual prints. They would sell prints of it. Depending on how big the piece actually was the artist made, you could get certain sizes if the artist decided to let you buy it. But yeah, you could have those options. And sometimes there's like a whole bunch of stuff you could sell. It was like mugs, magnets, stickers, that kind of stuff too. So it had a good wide variety.
Right. Yeah, I was asking because if you bought the digital, version, I was going to say, wait, we just discovered that those were the first NFTs, but it sounds like we weren't there yet with that. So,
Not
okay.
quite.
And Okay, so you got into that, and then from there, you just have been mostly digital, and your photo manipulation work has advanced from that time period, from when you started with DeviantArt.
Yes, I still dabble in traditional, just not as much as I used to. Most of it now
Okay.
is definitely digital.
And when I looked at your work, the first thing I thought of was I want to know what her creative influences are. Like, I'm so curious. I'm beyond curious to know what your creative influences are, because I see a lot of stuff that I want to talk to you about. But before I say anything, I want to hear what you say your creative influences are, and you can take as long as you want, name as many as you want, because I really want to know.
My biggest creative influences are, it's a mix of two artists. It's Frida Kahlo and also Luis Royo, if you know those artists. They're both
I don't know
Hispanic.
the latter.
Okay. Of course, pretty much everyone knows who Frida Kahlo is. But Luis Royo did like sci-fi, sexy fantasy babes. That was his style.
Painter.
And yes, he did a lot of painting. He did sketches. Um, I don't think he's done digital. I think his is mostly traditional works. I don't think he's around anymore, but I could be wrong. If he is, he's a lot older now. But he did a lot of really beautiful works, and definitely was an inspiration for me for a long time. I mean, have you seen Heavy Metal? I think he did some of the artworks for that as well.
I haven't seen that, but I'm definitely going to look into him, especially if he's one of your bigger creative influences. Are there any, modern creative influences that you could kind of cite?
Uh, I can't think of it. I
So
apologize. I just got off
oh
work.
no, no worries, no worries. The reason I'm asking is when I look at your work, it screams to me like film, like the sort of like cinematography, like, I just see the lighting, I see the setups as being like, something that I could see in a film. And so I was thinking, I was like, I wonder if filmmakers are any sort of influence, because just the way that, the kind of the lighting of the images. And I know that you said that some of them are stock images and some of them are, photographs that you actually take yourself. But it made me feel like, I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know, Tim Burton, or even like maybe some notable horror directors and cinematographers may have been influences of yours.
That's funny because I'm a huge movie buff. So honestly, it could be an unintentional inspiration that, I don't notice that that's doing that, but it makes sense because most of the movies I like to watch are horror films. So that definitely, that's interesting. I never thought of that.
Well, hey, that's just what I saw, and I'm also a big movie buff, and I'm a big cinematography buff specifically. And so when I saw your stuff, I was like, well, she should try to be a cinematographer if she hasn't like done that already. And that kind of leads me to the next question, which I've been asking artists is, now that you're in the NFT space and you're already a digital artist, right? So it's not like digital art is something new, but now that you see the way that other artists are selling their work in NFT format, do you see anything changing about your work from either like a technical or a creative perspective in the way that you execute?
I'm definitely gonna try and take more time in my art and definitely work more heavily into the details than I do now. I think sometimes I get excited and I rush it and I don't really spend enough time like I should be on it. I have also been really enjoying doing kind of like the fantasy type landscapes lately. So I'm kind of thinking of doing some more of those, and then also involving some of my portrait pieces that I've done with the ladies. So I'm definitely kind of widening my net a little bit more.
For sure. And I felt like those portrait pieces, when I just kind of looked at a sample of your work, like I also saw the landscape stuff. Would you say that the portraits are kind of your signature? Would that be fair?
Yes, because the portraits have a deeper meaning than the landscapes for sure. The portrait pieces have a lot to do with my PTSD. It's a healing process with those, so they definitely have a more personal tie to me. So they are definitely more of my signature pieces.
Gotcha. And yeah, I think that that's, kind of present when you kind of take a look at your collection on the internet, that the portrait pieces are definitely, sort of a signature. With those pieces, are you working with local models when you actually go to create those, when you take the photographs yourself? And, I'd love to know how much you enjoy like the actual photography portion versus just the digital photography manipulation after the fact.
Funny enough, I used to be a fashion photographer, so photography actually, I've done that for a good couple of years and really enjoyed it. I have a lot of friends that are models, worked with them for numerous years. They really had fun. Um, I also was published on Vogue's gallery a couple of times. And so, yeah, photography is definitely something I enjoy and definitely do involve that sometimes with my work. Um, some of my pieces I have sold did include some of my photography. I haven't done photography in a while though because of some health issues, but I am considering of possibly doing it again.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely crazy talent there. So, if you can get to doing it again, I'd love to see the work.
Oh
And
yeah,
so,
definitely.
when you go to kind of dive into a photo, whether it's one that you took yourself or like a stock photo, what kind of themes would you say that you're going for? Because again, I have like sort of my own ideas, and I think that the work's really distinct. And I also understand if you don't want to dive too deep into the actual work itself and get too technical. But I was just curious, so I wanted to put the question out there.
No, that's a good question. Sometimes when I go through stocks, I go for um, expressions, emotions on the face of the models. I like to, sometimes it's like an aha moment, like, oh, that's the perfect one. That one just screams to me. I have to try and use this one. And then sometimes it's just how it's laid out. Will this fit here? Will it work with this? I already have this in mind. Is this close to what I have in mind? So it depends on the project that I'm working on. And if I already have an idea or if I'm just hunting and trying to get that, like I said, aha moment where it's like, oh, it works. I want to use that.
Awesome. And I was curious, how did NFTs come into your life? Like what's the genesis of you discovering the idea of selling your work as NFTs?
It's been a wild ride. Definitely not something I expected. I'm not used to sharing my art with people very much or showing it off or anything like that. So actually having a community of people that's so supportive and amazing and liking my art is just mind blowing to me, and it's just incredible. I'm so glad I'm here, and it's just a great experience to actually to be able to sell my art. I've never been able to really sell my art before NFTs.
Awesome. And how did you kind of come across it? Like how did NFTs come into your life? Did you get referred by another artist or stumble onto them yourself?
Family, actually, surprisingly enough, I have family that's tied into NFTs as well that's been doing it, and they introduced me to it and said, "Hey, you would love this. You should get on it." So,
Awesome. And it sounds like it's been a pretty positive ride so far, right?
oh yeah, I love it. I'm not going anywhere.
All right, collectors, listen up. She's not going anywhere, so jump
Yeah.
in. Um, and have you like, developed any relationships either with other artists or collectors that you think will, either inform your work moving forward or just kind of lead to you doing work that you wouldn't have done without those relationships?
Oh yeah, I made a lot of friends on the NFT space. I mean, like I said, most of the people here are really great, really supportive. I it's been amazing how just positive this space really is, and just to make so many friends so so easily, and just be able to support each other and lift each other up and be like, hey, you can do it, be a cheerleader for everyone. It's just, yeah, it's great. So yeah, there are a lot of, I think, even collectors too. Collectors have been really amazing. They're really nice people. I'm surprised on how nice and supportive they are as well. It's just great that you can easily access that in the NFT community.
Yeah, that's what, that's what most people say once they enter the NFT space, is that it is a very supportive community of people, artists, collectors. I think that when both sides are winning, right? When the artists are doing very well because they're selling their work without like a middleman taking a massive fee and they're
Yeah.
benefiting, but then also, the collectors are getting access to an artist, getting a relationship with an artist whose work that they like, and then also having their work either appreciate or just have demonstrable value on a secondary market. It's a win-win for both sides. And basically all that happened is the middleman got cut out. So, those two sides, the collector and the artist, are both, having big smiles on their face. But no, it's an awesome testament for me to hear from you. So what projects do you have coming out, in the near future that you'd want collectors to know about, or, just any sort of plans for maybe the rest of the year with your NFTs?
Right now I'm working on another landscape piece. It's spring related. It's kind of like the Tower Time that I just released, but it's going to be a different rune. I'm thinking of making like the flowers light up and then like kind of like stars floating up into the sky from the ground and stuff like that. I'm not sure yet though. I'm thinking about it. And then I'm hoping to continue on the Fragile series. I just released Fragile a while ago, and I wanted to do more of the portrait and just kind of do more expressive pieces with emotions on that side. So I'll have to see how that goes.
Sounds fascinating. Can't wait to see it. So yeah, I wanted to give you a chance, let everyone watch and let the collectors know, where can they find your work? Like, where can they find you on social media? Like, where should they go to see you and your work?
The one I'm most active on is Twitter, and it's Chissweetart. It's where I have like all my links on there, like my link tree and everything. It's got all the links to my most recent arts, the ones that are available and haven't been sold out. I think I might have a few that have been sold out on there, but most of them are accessible right now.
Okay, and I just wanted to call out one comment here in the live chat. We've got Line Hacker saying this is his favorite or their favorite piece by you. Can you talk about this piece for a second?
Black Prince Manal. Actually, I was watching The Craft. That was a movie from the 1990s, and the god on that was called Manal. And I was like, that's interesting. So what I did was I kind of made my own kind of like dark spiritual god type thing with, I used a female model, but I made her really masculine and just kind of made her bitching.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm not allowed to say that.
No, you're good. I like that.
But it was, heavy metal rock music as the music playing in it, and the cigarette smoke was still going, and it was great. Hey guys, I see you.
Got Lion Hacker giving you a hell yeah to that one. Awesome.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite pieces too. I really liked how that one came out.
And a movie inspiration or a TV movie inspiration, right?
Yep. Just like you said.
Told you.
I never linked it up until you said that, but it makes sense now.
All right. Well, you heard where you can find her work. There's more coming out. Everyone pay attention on Makersplace Foundation, all the different, Twitter is definitely the place where you can hear from Chi directly. I'm CryptoPio. This is NFTculture. Please follow at NFTculture on Twitter. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel where I cover NFT drops, and that's Escape Velocity. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for coming on, Chi.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being here.
Likewise.